Necesitamos estampillas potables.
Close enough.
You are now tuned in to your number one radio station.
Violent people.
Radio.
Hey there, folks. Welcome to Violent People Radio. I am one of your hosts, Sam Damasio. With me, per usual, Pat. Pat, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I am doing A-okay. Thank you for asking. And Chris, how's geocaching going?
Great. I'm doing it every day. I'm meeting all kinds of new friends, getting into all kinds of adventures, getting all kinds of things that were bought in a quarter machine.
That's all you could really hope for at the end of the day. And lastly, the man without a computer, Dan Rice. Dan, how you doing?
I've been doing great. Computer's working great. The weather's been beautiful. It's just been a lovely week.
What? I don't really want this podcast to be like, well, what is the weather? But you have inspired this question. What is the weather by you, Dan?
Oh, it's just, snow and ice. That's all I've been doing this week is shoveling driveways, getting people out of ditches. We started cooking for the fire department because they have like firefighters on 24-hour shifts right now because there's so many people driving in the ice. It's pretty great.
That sounds fun. Wouldn't recommend.
But I don't do it to be nice, for the record. I do it so people think of me when they go to buy a house.
Well, that's shitty, Dan.
I just want to make sure people don't think like, oh, he's a good guy. I don't want that out there.
How self-serving of you. I can't believe you, Dan Rice, the most selfless person I personally know,
Oh God.
would stoop to such a level.
See,
Here we
the
are.
real shitbird thing to do would be to act like you are the nicest guy in the world, and then get people to send you money to fix your computer, and then you just like tap dance away with all the cash.
Where do you think all that donation money he's got going on is going to?
I will say I didn't announce that I donated $220 and Al Getz did $110. So thanks to VPR people, we donated $330 total. So that's pretty cool.
You should post that on a social media of some sort.
I should do that. I will let you know that me and Al both donated to Dave because we completely forgot about it.
Perfect.
So
hey, I will say donating at some point better than donating at no point.
It's true. I specifically had you send me the link or like the picture of what we sold, but then I had to do math and I was like, well, I don't want to think right now. And I just didn't look at it again until today. I was like, oh shit.
Dan, when do you ever?
Also, to all of our listeners, having a Violent People mug is better than not having a Violent People mug, even if it's not taking money out of Dan's pocket.
But it's always better when it does. But I love my mug.
Always next year.
Thank Ali again for doing our logo for the site and henceforth the mug that he didn't know was going to be the case until we decided on it. So that was great. All right, folks. It's time to talk about the wide world of professional wrestling. And because we are a current events wrestling podcast, it is time to talk about the hit TV show Monday Night Raw.
Let's get into it. Segment by segment.
I unfortunately don't know segment 1, so I am going to be ill-equipped to continue this bit beyond this point.
Who do you think the first wrestler on the new debut of WWE Raw on Netflix was that you saw in the ring? Take
Triple
a guess.
H.
Yeah, you figured it out.
Yeah. Okay. See, that makes sense. That makes sense. I had heard The Rock was there, but I actually could not tell if he was actually there or if people were just posting a soundbite from something during the show.
It's really not a difference at this point.
Truly.
I like that they did where they implicitly promised that Pentagon would debut, and instead they just showed another like vignette that said nothing.
That's amazing. What's Phoenix doing these days?
He's probably dead.
All right.
Yeah, Tony killed him.
Yeah, he did seem like he was having some suicidal tendencies on some of those social posts.
No, he just he slipped. He just slipped in the tub.
Whoop. There we go. Anyway, we're not going to talk about Raw. We're going to talk about what we've been watching this week. I think we should start with Chris this week, who I'm sure has watched something that has shaped the foundation of what we know as professional wrestling.
I did. I watched the first 2 episodes of AEW television of the year that are now on max.com.
.com. Oh, I love it.
And yeah, they really made a couple episodes of very watchable but not particularly memorable television. I'm not going to talk about them much.
Well, we need your star ratings.
The best
Gentleman's 3.
What was that?
A Gentleman's 3?
For what match?
Any of them. Pick one. Throw it at a board.
Yeah, I gave the Gentleman's 3 to the $100,000 high-speed collision 4-way match between Brian Cage, Dante Martin, Commander, and the Beast Mortos.
There we go.
But
no one's more deserving, really. What do you think about it?
It was largely very watchable TV. Nothing super great. The highlight of both shows was the Daniel Garcia versus Mark Briscoe match on Collision, which was pretty good, but their tournament match from last month was better. Adam Page versus Orange Cassidy from Dynamite was also pretty good. Lots of like pretty good matches, like the 3-way between Jay White, Roddy, and Swerve was pretty good.
Pretty good.
Like nothing that would like get you particularly excited about the new era of AEW on max.com. But like compared to say a show that everyone decided to watch live on Netflix even though they knew it would suck ass, which I did not personally watch because I knew it would suck ass. I bet it would seem night and day to see a 3.5-star Mark Briscoe match.
So you're not telling me anything that like shakes my foundation.
You're also not bringing up the big news out of the thing that actually made me go like, oh, maybe AEW is doing something, which is that we're going to get a Christopher Daniels versus Adam Page match.
Oh, I thought you were going for Jeff Jarrett's going for the title.
Yeah, but we know that's not gonna. We know that like Lucy's gonna pull the football on that one. But Christopher Daniels, hopefully he beats Adam Page in 3 minutes, and Page is never seen on TV again. I like to have realistic expectations.
True, very true.
Big if true. Anything else there,
And-
Chris?
I did watch a fair amount of both Tokyo Dome shows, but I didn't watch the entirety of either show.
Well, based on what you did see, thumbs up, thumbs down.
So I watched the first half of Wrestle Kingdom. I stopped watching to go to bed after the Tanahashi Evil match, which seemed like it was the proper choice. I've heard good things about the David Finlay Yota Tsuji match. So I'll probably get around to watching that eventually. But otherwise, like, I missed Takeshita versus Shingo, which I have heard I caught the superior Takeshita match the next night when he faced Tomohiro Ishii, and it was pretty good. And like Doki got hurt in his match versus Desperado like 5 minutes in. And that was like the one match from the top of the card I was excited about. And I have basically no interest based on everything I've heard in watching like Naito versus Hiromu or Zack Sabre Jr. versus Shota Umino. But I really enjoyed the bottom of the card. The Rambo was really fun. You had Josh Barnett there, and he was just like, before he got eliminated, he was just grappling dudes. And that was fun. And you had a bunch of old people who couldn't walk, like Honma and Tenzan. And, you know, they waddle to the ring and they do their thing, and that was fun. Oleg Boltin looked really good. One of the best in-ring quality Rambos ever, in my opinion. The ladder match was crazy. Because it's New Japan, none of these guys, except like probably Kevin Knight and TJP, are working a ton of ladder matches in their careers. So it just seems way more dangerous than your like very, very rehearsed WWE or AEW ladder match, which makes it cooler that it seems like someone is going to die at any moment of this match. The women's match got a full 8 minutes, and Mayu Iwatani and Azumi made like the very best of it. Very, very solid 8-minute match. The World TV 4-way with Phantasmo, Narita, Cobb, and Oiwa was like solid for a 4-way. And the Lumberjack match with Tanahashi and Evil, the best Tanahashi singles match I've seen in a very long time. Because
Since
he was,
when specifically?
I could not give you a date.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Pre or post pandemic?
Probably pre.
Oh wow, that is a long time.
I don't know. He probably has like a post-pandemic match against like Zack Sabre Jr. or something that I like.
He's one of those guys where I really want him to like just kind of retire, not like retire, but like become, you know, a first or second match like comedy guy, like Honma, where, you know, it's like, you know, he can do stuff occasionally, but he's constantly working around his own body. But I think Tanahashi's like a guy who could do that.
Yeah, I think he does that very well in the Lumberjack match.
Like I would be happy watching him for, you know, 5 more years doing like 6-man tags, or wandering off to other promotions to face like Dan Shocodino or something.
Like lumberjack match against Evil is pretty much like you're pretty much getting that. Just with technically being a singles match. And so yeah, I had a lot of fun watching that. I think like it's good because even people that don't like Evil really like that match, it seems. And people never want to admit that they like an Evil match except me and a few other brave soldiers.
Did anyone vote for Evil in the VP 2010, Sam? Do you remember?
I have no idea. Not a clue. I could find out.
I should have. I don't know if I did.
Dum 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 dum
Well,
dum.
Sam,
Yes.
my
Answer's
favorite
yes.
Evil memory is I can't remember if it was a Ring of Honor or a New Japan show. I can't remember which was the headlining brand, but it was in Lowell, Massachusetts. And I got there early so that I could park on the street. And as I'm just kind of wandering around, killing time before the show, I look into a steak and cheese, I can't remember the name of the place, but it was like a steak and cheese type restaurant. And I just see in full Ingobernables de Japón hoodies, Evil and Tetsuya Naito, like staring at the menu, kind of eyeballing what they want. And I decided not to go in and bother them because I'm like, no, they're pro wrestlers. They will somehow get me to pay for their food. And I didn't
Yeah, I
want
don't want that.
How was Chase Owens and Jado versus Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson?
Good question.
Was that on the Dome show?
No, that was in that Lowell, Massachusetts show.
I honestly have completely forgotten it.
All right.
Disappointing.
Sorry.
Disappointing.
I mean,
That's the only match on the card that pops out to me. The rest of it is just a bunch of tag matches that could have been on any of the American
I mean,
shows.
that's kind of my. I don't even remember. Like my memory of it is like maybe it was a New Japan show, or maybe it was a Ring of Honor show where they had the New Japan guys coming in, or
It looks like Amazing
Wait,
Red team with Ishii, which is cool and weird.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Chris, I've lost you. Where were you in your journey?
That's pretty much it for what I watched from Wrestle Kingdom, and then I watched the top half of Wrestle Dynasty, which, like the Takeshita Ishii match was a pretty well worked, never open weight style match. It's an Ishii never open weight title match, so you know what you're getting, but he does seem a little more motivated than I've thought he's been in quite some time, and it makes sense. Because it's in the Dome. Really, really solid match. Most of the other like undercard matches, I have basically no thoughts on, like Shota Umino versus Claudio, or the 3-way tag team match, or a Yota Tsuji versus Jack Perry. None of these matches you need to watch. And then Kenny Omega wrestled Gabe Kidd, and it was awesome.
Really?
Yeah,
They ruled.
it's a fucking great match. There's blood.
would you say that in it, Kenny Omega was Terry Funk with more athleticism?
I would say that.
Wow.
Oh, so we got another Terry Funk on our hands.
Yeah,
Everyone wants to.
One of the
everyone,
many.
we got too many fucking Terry Funks.
This card was full of Terry Funks up and down.
Holy shit!
Part of me wonders if Dave Meltzer made the Terry Funk Kenny Omega thing because they just both have curly hair.
It's the odds are not zero on that. The odds are not
But
zero.
Yeah, it's a great return match for Kenny. I'm higher on Gabe Kidd than a lot of people seem to be. Or I'm
So you're a
I'm in the
real one.
pro I'm in the pro Gabe Kidd camp. He is a very divisive wrestler. I'm in the pro camp. And I thought he was a good foil with his entire shithead thing that he does. Wrestling like Kenny, who like both of these guys, from what I saw on the show, by far the two most over guys on that card. Obviously, Kenny is beloved and in Japan, and he was making his return not only to New Japan but in the ring in general after his bout with diverticulitis. And Gabe Kidd got a way better reaction than Yota Tsuji or Shota Umino or Ren Narita or any of these guys that I watched in the day, like that day or the day before.
These phonies, as they were.
Yeah. So like of like the young guys New Japan is pushing, it seems like Gabe Kidd is the obvious one you keep pushing until Yuya Uemura comes back. And because like Shota Umino just seems like that ship is sailed.
What?
Like he's gotten so many opportunities, and I didn't watch the Zack Sabre Jr. match, but like having seen some of his other big opportunities, he's just a guy who has been given chances and has not like made use of them at all. When I think of my favorite Shota Umino matches, like where I've thought he's good, they're like trios matches. So like that's where we are with him. Yota Tsuji, there's something there he's got that he just isn't tapping consistently, and probably hasn't until since like 2 G1s ago, when it seemed like he was really going to break out and then did not. So here we have Gabe Kidd, who had a like fucking great match with Kenny Omega, and everyone loved it. And then Zack Sabre Jr. wrestled Ricochet in the main event, and the crowd kind of died, but it was really well worked. Like obviously the Kenny match was going to get more of a reaction than like Zack Sabre Jr. wrestling an AEW guy. But I liked that match a lot. I think given the response to the Wrestle Kingdom match, Zack Sabre Jr. really looked motivated here. Like he was going to like have a good match with Ricochet come hell or high water, and he did. I thought he looked phenomenal. Ricochet held his own. I think having like a New Japan style heavyweight match with someone like Zack Sabre Jr. probably suits him better than like trying to do like have the same matches he was having with as a junior like 10 years ago. So like yeah, easily the two best matches on the show were Omega versus Gabe Kidd, ZSJ versus Ricochet, but everything else save the Takeshita Ishii match really didn't move me. I'll probably watch like the Monet versus Shirakawa match and the exhibition match that Tanahashi and Shibata had, and the one match that had luchadors on this show that is technically co-promoted by CMLL. I'll probably check out that Lucha Gauntlet, but I don't see anything like probably wowing me as much as the top 2 matches. So, like, obviously I didn't watch in full either show, but it seems like if you combine both Tokyo Dome shows that New Japan ran, you could make a really, really good Tokyo Dome card, picking and choosing matches, and you can make a really, really bad Tokyo Dome card.
Isn't that just the way it goes, though?
It is. Especially when you're bringing in Jack Perry.
The GOAT. The GOAT
And
Jack Perry. The scapegoat.
the scapegoat.
Ba-dum-ba-dum.
That's about what I watched.
All right, that's it. Moving on. Pat, what we got?
So I watched one match from the Raw debut on Netflix. I decided to sit down and watch Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan.
Sure, why not?
That's all I have to say about it.
Incredible.
I watched it. It happened.
Hell yeah.
Rhea Ripley is someone where I wish that she had found her stride somewhere other than WWE, because I feel like she is someone who, if she was in an environment where she wasn't, excuse me, where she wasn't necessarily as contained by the rules of the WWE playbook, she would be a crazy person.
How crazy
Like,
we talking?
I don't know, like, but I feel like she could be some kind of, like, the difference between, being a great talent and a great WWE talent, if you know what I mean.
I hear you.
Like,
I hear you.
I think it might be too late. Like, if she left WWE tomorrow, I think she's going to be one of those people where the Performance Center is just in her blood now.
Yeah,
But
you can't really undo it.
she's so naturally charismatic, and just, I feel like if she had been in a, come up in a different environment and found her audience and her voice in a different place where she could uh, experiment with it more, as opposed to just trying out different crazy face paint options, there could have been something really special there. So it's a little bit of a bummer to see another one lost to the Largo loop. Another mind destroyed. But I also watched stuff from Japan this week. I made good on my promise. I subscribed to BJW Core.
Hell
And
yeah.
I have dutifully watching this year's deathmatch offerings. Most of which, they're just kind of like, if you've seen, when it's not a big show, if you've seen one Big Japan Light Tube match, you've kind of seen them all. No one was really busting out the extra oomph to bring to, like a Beast Man versus Chuck Stein match or whatever. But the match that got everyone talking, Madman Pondo versus the North Korean Assassin.
I've heard things.
Strong recommendation for everyone to seek this match out, sit their ass down, watch, and learn. Madman Pondo and the North Korean Assassin, for those of you who are not familiar, are two ancient men who are both shaped like the Grimace and slightly less mobile than a Grimace mascot suit. They go out there. They are trying to set up contraptions and spots, and things are just falling apart on them as they try to. The crowd goes from booing them to laughing at them, and if you are a Big Japan crowd and a death match is making you laugh, it's not just something has gone wrong; it's that everything has gone wrong. The match is like 15 minutes long, and just a sheer display of willpower by both men to not die of exhaustion by the end of it. You know, I'm talking about it like a bad match, but it is the first, in my opinion, certified hoot of the year.
Beautiful. That's what I love to hear.
Speaking of hoots, though, I also watched ICW No Holds Barred, their weekend of shows in Red Bank, Tennessee. The first show of the weekend was Pit Fighter, so they set up like a shitty fake octagon with no ring. Most of it, you know, you can miss, but Gary J versus Bobby Beverly, friend of the show, the Bev, that was fun. They just went out there and made a big mess, and most of the match was them doing extended strike battles, which makes a lot of sense when you're doing a match in a fake octagon. You know, the guys who were like doing DDTs and stuff like that, I'm kind of like, why are you just working a wrestling match? On the second night, they did a couple cool matches. Tank versus Manders was fun. Danny DeManto versus John Wayne Murdoch. They went out there and tried to murder each other. Nathan Mowry versus Hoodfoot had some okay stuff, but went on way too long. It was like a 10-minute match that, you know, they stretched out to 20. But the match of the night, and Otis Koger versus Bobby Beverly, also a fun match. Match of the night, though, Atticus Koger versus Cody Manhorn. They went out there and they were just showcasing a commitment to being as ridiculously unsafe as two wrestlers can be. There's one part in the match where Atticus Koger has like a racket with gusset plates on it, and he just it's, you know, you would think that Cody Manhorn had like stolen from him. He just whacks Cody with it as hard as he can. Cody immediately erupts in blood to the point that the referee has to duct tape his arm to stop the bleeding. And that's in like the first 4 minutes of the match. From there, there's a part where Cody Manhorn, you know, they're in a tiny venue in Red Bank, Tennessee. The crowd is right up against the ring. Cody Manhorn is at ringside, right in front of people, carrying a huge bundle of light tubes, and Koger just takes a ladder and chucks it and smashes it into the tubes and Cody and probably the crowd. Absolute psycho match. Must be seen. It goes beyond hoot and into actually good match. Strong recommendation. And beyond that, all I really watched was Satika is finally back in action. She did a match with for Lucha Libre Boom. Her and Mary Caparel teaming against Danessa and Sagittarius. Just lots of crowd brawling, whipping cups of beer at each other. If you like Satika, it's good fun.
I do like her.
That is not how I've ever heard that pronounced.
Oh, what? Which one?
I've heard it pronounced Sadika.
It's Satika, because
This is
she's got the accent mark over the A.
This is
So
defining
that's
stuff.
the emphasis is on the first syllable. So you
Are
put the
you-
emphasis on the sa.
Pat, are you going to see her versus Cruel?
Oh, I bought my ticket. Oh yeah, I wasn't
All
going to go, and then they announced her versus Cruel, and I'm like, not only am I buying a ticket, I'm spending my life savings at her merch table.
That's good and smart.
You know what? Luckily, we don't have to worry about that showing up on any awards show until next year. With the live bump. Anything else there, Pat?
No, I made my resolution to watch less wrestling,
How's it going?
and I've stuck to it. I've watched some Big Japan. I've watched some No Holds Barred. I've watched a few indie lucha matches. One match from Raw. It feels good. There's no big show for me to catch until GCW at the Hammerstein.
All right. Hell yeah. All right. Dan, what have we been watching?
Did you guys watch Atsuki Aoki versus Sora Ayami?
What the fuck are you saying right now?
I thought that was a joke for Pat. No, I watched.
Isn't that
Was it a joke
Sushi
for
Aoki
anyone?
guy? Isn't that Sushi Aoki dead?
I don't know. It's the match that someone in our Discord was raving about. Logan, I think.
Oh, when he discovered what Marvelous is.
Yeah. I'm
I
mocking
don't
one
know.
of the Discord users on the podcast, and you didn't get it. Okay.
I
Um,
just I thought you were just like making up like some Noah match from because I'm pretty sure Atsushi Aoki is dead.
Yes.
Hey, Dan. Dan, we talked internally, and we thought like we're not going to make fun of our Discord members
Oh.
anymore. Actually,
I didn't
so
get that
I don't know
memo.
why you didn't get the memo.
I didn't get that
Um,
memo.
You should knock the fuck
I have a
off.
note here making fun of all of them. Ducky, you're a teenager.
Boom,
all I got.
roasted.
Got him. Okay. I also watched some wrestling from Japan. I watched like I said, Gabe Kidd versus Kenny Omega. Which I like being a hater, so I'm going in. I'm like, let's see, this is not gonna be as good as people say. I saw that Tanahashi was crying. That seemed dumb. And it starts out with like some shitty strike exchanges and some weird like faux boxing. I'm like, this is stupid. And then the next like 28 minutes are fucking awesome. So well, everyone should watch that. And then the only other thing I watched was Josh Barnett versus Bolton, Oleg Bolton. And it's 5 minutes and it goes to a draw, and I need more of it. I don't know if Barnett's going to bring him over for a Bloodsport show or what's going on, but I can get into
Well, Barnett's opponent for Hammerstein is still a mystery. So it could be anyone. It could be Oleg Bolden. It could be Mina Shirakawa. It could be anyone.
anyone. But yeah, I made sure to watch on January 4th. I like to watch the big show, the main thing that everyone's talking about. So I watched Heels Have Eyes 3, the West Side Gun show. This might be a good time to say that I've already missed on both of my resolutions. My computer died, so there was no Gram Zaza piece. And I'm watching shitty US indie wrestling as always. So here we are, 2025.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When you watched that show, how acutely did you feel the loss of Sami Callihan versus Nick Gage in a steel cage match?
It's pretty rough. It starts out awesome actually. I thought Violence is Forever squashing the new guys was really fun. But yeah, I mean that was what was drawing me in, and it was no longer there. And you guys have to stay with me here. Real One, aka Enzo Amore, versus Cha Cha Charlie.
We love Cha Cha Charlie.
This was good shit. Like, this was real good shit. Probably at worst the second best match of the night, but probably the match of the night. You should only watch that and the Violence is Forever squash. Zilla versus Moose is interesting just because I find it so weird how, I mean, I guess I shouldn't. It's pro wrestling. Like, Zilla's a big star just because he's of his name. Like, he's just treated like a big star. Like, Moose sells for him so much in this match. Like, it's probably like 70-30 Zilla.
So
It's crazy.
I watched a lot of Zilla when I did all the GCW watching last year. So Zilla, you know, he was in GCW a lot. He was one of their pushed guys until he had that financial falling out with him. And I'm not sure anyone in GCW was ever more protected than Zilla. Like, it was like seeing, like, you know, when like WWF gets like or WWE gets like a Roman Reigns on their hands, and they're like, we have to do everything in our power to book this guy to look good. Like, I'm kind of amazed that they couldn't come to terms over money, because GCW was like sucking this dude off hard. And
I mean, that's how this is. Like, I can't
did-
tell you if he's good because Moose was doing everything in his power to make him seem like a killer.
And that's all of his matches. That's all of Zilla's matches. Is like they would put him against like Bobby Flacco or someone who could like bump like a pinball for him, or John Wayne Murdoch, who would just like take reckless light tube shots.
Speaking of that, do people know what the makeup cage match is? Since you can't have Nick Gage versus Sami Callihan, they're both not there. It's John Wayne Murdoch versus, of course, Joe Alonzo. Of course. Joe Alonzo.
From Daly's Place era AEW Dark.
He
Joe
did something
Alonzo.
to piss AEW off, I believe. I don't know the drama well enough. I think he was in NWA and maybe got fired from there too. I could be wrong. But
I think he's an AEW guy right now.
yeah, well, I think maybe he got trained by Ali and Robert Anthony and those guys. So that makes sense. But yeah, that is such a funny, like, it's just like pulling two names out of a hat.
I got a question for you. Did Murdoch keep his shirt on?
I want to say he did. I don't really remember.
In him versus Danny DeManto for ICW, he did not keep his shirt on. And like, if you ever want to see someone embodying like the kind of Eric Bischoff argument of like, well, wrestling is a cosmetic business, watch a shirtless John Wayne Murdoch match, because he's like, speaking as someone who is pale and pasty, he is pale and pasty. And it's like watching like a wad of dough with arms and legs.
Yeah, I'm not big on John Wayne Murdoch anymore, and this didn't change that. There was an AJ Francis versus Joe Hendry match that I didn't watch, and that was the show basically. Yeah, so the only wrestling I watched was a few matches from New Japan, and then sat down and watched most of the show, and that was my wrestling watching for the week.
I love that. I love that. Can I tell you something right now?
Yeah.
That's going to be like a little Easter egg for people that are actually listening to the show. I've made a catastrophic mistake for the VP 2010s.
Oh God.
So I'm just finding out about this now. So I'm doing some fun stuff in the background here.
It's like,
You'll
oh
all-
my God! It turns
you'll
out
all learn
who
about
did
this
you-
on Friday.
Who did you forget to include in the tabulations?
So who did you recently ask me whose ranking it was?
Evil.
Mr. Chris Hero. Speaking of fat white guys,
No one questioned anything about Chris Hero not being in the top 100 when I was saying everyone names.
That's
No one
funny.
questioned this. And yet,
And yet,
he wasn't part of the data set for some reason. I don't know why. So,
no one has also, when I made you that graphic, no one, not even anyone on this call, questioned why I gave Charlotte Flair the most prominent like space on it. I was hoping that it would make people get worried, like, oh my God, is she in the top 10?
I just took what you gave me. I said, you know what? Bless your heart. I don't know why you did this, but I'll take it.
you know, I swear.
I wanted people to get upset about it.
I'm gonna let you know I haven't started the blurbs yet, but I wrote down the 100 and I deleted the people that I am not gonna write a blurb about that I don't like or I don't want to write about. And then I literally was like, man, I didn't see Hero, but like I'm not gonna go back through the list. I'll find it when I start writing. I'll find it when I start writing the blurbs.
So my guess is if
pulled it-
I
I
missed
pulled it
Chris
back up,
Hero, that Chris Hero cannot be the only wrestler I've missed. If the most prominent possible guy got missed, we probably have some greater issues here that I am not aware of yet. So, this will be fun. This will be exciting. This will be unique.
It turns out Chad Gable was the number one.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Anyway,
I'm
I watched.
I'm still waffling back and forth on whether or not to put Jade Cargill at number 1 on my 2024 ballot, just to like try and ensure she's in the top 100.
It's gonna be cool when someone on the podcast ballot gets disqualified.
No, I would have like a totally normal ballot and then just like Jade Cargill number 1.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Anywho, I watched one of the top 5 matches in AEW history, and I thought that was pretty sick. You guessed it. It is Shelton Benjamin versus Leah Rush from October 16th. maybe the second best match of 2024. It is monumental. Everyone should watch it. It is nearly perfection. Lio Rush, the GOAT.
Did
Put it
you
down.
not
Put it on your
vote
list.
for Lio Rush in the 2010s? By the way.
I didn't know.
Okay. I was
Just
sure
forgot.
you'd be another vote for him.
Wasn't me. Not this time.
All right.
Completely whiffed. People gotta make these cases. We gotta talk about these things more. Didn't do it. Didn't come up. Should have made it. I don't
It
know
was
where
in
it
like
lands.
a CCW, I can't remember. I don't think it was a Cage of Death match, but it was, like some CCW, like TLC type match that basically pissed me off so much that like I stopped watching Lio Rush matches for like 6 years.
Oh, that's embarrassing. Come on. That wasn't that bad.
It was full of like people getting power bombed off the top of a ladder and then like popping up at a 1 count.
You didn't love the Janela rivalry? It was defining of something.
Defining of what?
That's a great question.
I put him at 53 and no one else voted for him.
Rip to you. I think I had some folks pretty high that I was like the only vote for. It's just rough out.
I mean, I was one of 2 people that voted for Soberano Jr. Soberano Jr.
I mean, he is the Screwmaster, as his T-shirt once informed us.
What are we doing?
The embarrassing thing is when in the like outside the top 100 runner-up things, Matt Riddle is going to pop up, and it's going to be like high voter PTO, like number 3 or something. I'm the only one still carrying the torch for 2016 Matt Riddle.
We support you for it, as Evolve Respecters.
Well, thank you.
Anyway, that match, incredible. Oh man, this has gotten. I can't keep looking at this.
Yeah, I still need to watch that. I've very much enjoyed Shelton in AEW. All of his tournament matches that I've seen have been good. He was fun tagging with Lashley on the episode of Dynamite I watched, squashing the Acclaimed. Shelton Benjamin's still very, very good.
What? Yeah, he is incredible. He was phenomenal here. I think everyone should watch it. I truly hold it in the highest of esteem as Shelton Benjamin runs roughshod over Lio Rush. I decided to also watch some Zack Sabre Jr. matches because I was like, I really loved the Virus and Hechicero matches. Like some of the best matches of the year. What was he like elsewhere? Unfortunately, a lot of his also work is in New Japan, one of the most dog shit promotions in the world. Watched him versus Tanahashi from May, from Strong. Good. I liked it. A decent amount. Nothing special. I watched the Great-O-Khan match from July 20th in the G1. Pretty good. And then a match that really just grinded my gears was him in Bad Boy Tito versus Shota Umino and Tomohiro Ishii, a match where nothing meant anything for about 14 minutes, and it was over. I guess that's how it goes sometimes, but still, bad. Don't want to watch that. And then I just watched more Lio Rush.
Did you watch Hechicero versus Lio Rush?
That is the other one. That is one of the other ones. That is a phenomenal match. That is great. Very much in the vein, frankly, of the Benjamin match, in the sense that it is Lio Rush giving himself to another opponent and letting them kind of just like make a show of it in the best way possible. And Hechicero's got some great stuff to show off. So, match rules. Again, another one. Everyone should watch it.
Yeah,
one of the matches that got me to come back around to Lio Rush was him versus Jack Cartwheel.
Well, that's
I want to say February last year. I mean, it's a total indie nonsense match, but it's a really good indie nonsense match.
When Lio Rush decides, like, hey, I'm going to make my opponent look like the best wrestler in the world, which, I mean, he doesn't have to try that hard with Hechicero, because Hechicero is one of the best wrestlers in the world, if not the best. Like, Lio Rush is fucking phenomenal when he, like, kind of tones down the indie bullshit and is just like, yeah, I'm just gonna bump my ass off for this dude and make him like look incredible. Because Lio Rush is like an incredibly talented all-around wrestler. Like he's good on the mat, he's good flying, obviously. He's good in a hardcore match. So when you get like that good Lio Rush, it is hitting like very few other wrestlers do.
As the podcast's high voter on 1990s Shawn Michaels, when a little guy bumps his ass off like a crazy person, that is some of my favorite shit ever to watch. So, Lio Rush, following in the tradition of the greats, like the Heartbreak Kid.
Now, do you guys know that on, was it Friday, it's Hechicero versus Blue Panther, and then the very next day we get Hechicero versus Zack Sabre Jr.?
Sounds good.
It's exciting stuff.
Whatever
Yeah.
you say, man. Whatever you say.
The only downside for Hechicero versus Sabre Jr. is it's New Japan.
It's true.
Anyhow, that's kind of all I watched this week. Just Zach and Leo matches, and kind of just hope that would pan out. The Robbie X match from February, Leo Rush, wouldn't watch it. Mustafa Ali versus Leo Rush from November, also would not recommend. Mustafa Ali lost it, doesn't got it. He's not good.
Did he ever have it?
I think so. At one point, there was at least a mirage that he had it. No more, though. No more.
I think he had it in the same way that everyone who is kind of the flavor of the month, underutilized, good hand, languishing in WWE has it. Like, you know, he got the same shine that the Cesaro section gave people.
No, but I enjoy that. 50-year-old Shelton Benjamin is having had a much better 2024 post WWE than Ali. I think it's very funny.
Yeah, and he also didn't do that fucking stupid ass presidential gimmick either.
So dumb.
Anywho, we're moving on to, well, what's going on the site right now? Right now, on VinePeople.co, a website you should go visit. We have the VP 2010s countdown going on right now.
A possibly fraudulent countdown currently taking place.
Yeah, I have no idea 100% how to fix my issue, which is not great. So that's fun. This could be hours of work ahead of me as I attempt to.
Isn't it fun that you discover it the first time that you have to like edit and post the podcast too?
Yeah, like it's cool. It's cool.
Good night.
It's good night. It's a good night. I'm just hustling here, figuring out what's going on. You could be voting on the VP 100, a voting for the best wrestlers of 2024. That is going on. That is going to be due March 10th. We're going to mention that every single episode up until the very last one you could possibly do. To be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, we've got
Forever.
11 ballots so far.
Incredible. That's incredible. So continue to help out and see what we can do.
We
And
also got
then
a new episode of Regress.
yeah, Cole was
Oh,
in a
yeah.
new episode for Regress. That has been lovely. People really dug that as he chronicles the early stages of progress in scintillating detail. And then we will have probably a piece from a new writer to the site tomorrow. Pending I don't die doing what I'm doing tonight. And then, yeah, I think that's kind of it for now. Dan will eventually get his computer up and running, but who knows when that next Zaza piece will go up based on that.
The top GCW matches of 2024 will be going up before the next VPR, specifically to tie into our secret surprise guest.
Truly. Love it. Love it. All right, that's it. That's what's going on violentpeople.co. And with that, we enter our big top.
Oh, why did we
It
bring
is-
that back?
I'm not on my computer. It's harder to get to.
Anyway, we are doing another rendition of the Violent People Hall of Fame. If you did not listen last episode of the Violent People Hall of Fame, I'm here to tell you who is currently in it. We have Terry Funk, Genshiro Tenryu, Jay Briscoe, Sushi Onita, Necro Butcher, Hanzina, Antonio Inoki, Jun Kasai, Yuki Ishikawa, and Yoshihiro Takayama. And we decided last draft / ballot selection that we would not be able to vote for anyone that did not make the Hall of Fame. Well, here are the 10 folks that did not enter last round. L.A. Park, Dean Rasmussen, Megumi Kudo, New Jack, Ian Rotten, Damus, Zandig, Black Terry, Too Cold Scorpio, and Big Love. Similar to last time, we are going to be drafting a list of 20 wrestlers. It will be going in snake draft order of Chris, then Dan, then Pat, then myself. And we will each be able to select 5 wrestlers as we go through this process. And then afterwards, we will hold a vote by you, the listeners, to see who will make the Violent People Hall of Fame. I will say right here and now, I'm not sure we are tied to the top half / 10 making it in. We'll have to discuss that. Maybe the answer is yes. But let's say for right now, we're not positive that is the case. But what we are positive is that unlike last time, we will not be doing a punishment for not. Yeah, what?
I just had an idea as we were speaking because I really wanted a way for me to put my finger on the scale. I want to not trust these voters because I do not trust them. They have ruined it. What if we vote on what the four of us vote on what the cutoff is? Like we look at the results and we say, okay, these top 4, these top 5, that's top 6. Because last time it would have been everyone above John Cena, and we could have saved the day.
I think we had talked about like potentially like a percentage.
Yeah, I think 60% of the ballots
threshold.
or something like that.
60 or 70, like Dave style or Baseball Hall of Fame style.
The problem is that all the shitbird listeners to this podcast will just vote for who's funny anyway.
And they're racist. They hate Mexicans.
They
That's
hate
last
Mex-
time.
I don't have a single luchador on my big board here. I'm not
We also
It's
don't
not
have.
gonna get voted.
I'm not saying anything, but we have Necro Butcher in the Hall of Fame, but we don't have any black people. And I think that reflects the listeners of this podcast.
How right?
It's
you
not
are.
wrong. It's not wrong. Which is unfortunate. All right. So, shall we begin this process? All right.
think
Is
we
everyone
shall.
ready? Does everyone have their notepads ready? Their
I'm ready.
everything. All right. Then, with the first pick in the Hall of Fame draft. Oh, you interrupted me, Dan. We're not doing punishments because everyone. It was someone ruined it. Someone ruined it. Because they were picking people specifically to get in versus who they felt was the most deserving. And we're not going to have that.
So
We're only picking
speaking of
deserving.
punishments, if you want to punish me for whatever reason, if I did something to you, send 20 blurbs in to either the VP 2010s or the VP 2024s, and I will watch a match and talk about it on VPR. You can just send the match directly to me through the Discord, and I will check with Sam and Chris to make sure that you actually sent in the blurbs. Just try to keep it under an hour.
There we go. All right, Chris, you're up.
So my first pick, even though I am shaky on including WWE workers in general, I feel like this is someone who has been prominent, prominent enough and like really exemplifies violence and is also one of my favorite workers of all time, and also did plenty of great work outside of WWE. I'm going for my first pick, Mick Foley. Hardcore legend. I mean, what can you say about Mick Foley? Fucking one of the best hardcore wrestlers to ever do it. Whether it was in WWE, WCW, ECW, in Japan, the matches with Sting, the matches like one of the best Edge matches ever. Great TNA run for his retirement. I mean, I was very upset I was not the high vote on Mick Foley for the VP 2010s. And so I feel like I have to make up for it by nominating him for the Hall of Fame.
It's a good pick. I like it.
He's someone I was thinking about as well, just because, not to give too much of the game away, but I was working over my Desert Island comps list. So Mick Foley was prominent in my mind as I was going over what matches I would take with me to a desert island.
Hell yeah. All right, Dan, you're up.
I'm gonna go with Loki. I think he is the most violent of the 2000 workers, and I think he's one of the GOATs, and he gets overlooked because he didn't really have much of a run in anywhere. And, yeah, just a resume that can compete with anyone else. He shows up 3 times a year now and still kicks ass, still kicks harder than anyone in the business. So yeah, my vote.
All right, there we go. Next up, Pat.
So I'm going with someone who, frankly, I cannot believe that in 20 picks, no one named this guy for the Violent People Hall of Fame first time around. I feel that it is kind of a corrective measure on my part, like nature needing to heal. I am nominating Sabu. I frankly
Sure.
can't believe anyone else is, that no one else has by now. When I think of violence in professional wrestling, he's one of the first guys I think of.
Hey, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right. Next up for me. It's time. It's time. It's Vader time. Put Vader on the board.
Veda Scott.
Vader. Big Van Vader. Yeah. Felt like missed him last time. Got include him this time. And I will swing back around to select Hijo Del Santo for my second pick. One of the greatest wrestlers ever. But also like one of the great bleeders ever. So give it up to him. Put him on the board.
He is on the board. And
Pat, you're up.
following in that, someone who this is another guy I'd like with Chris with Mick Foley. I kind of waffled on like, well, is he violent enough for violent people? And then I kind of was like, well, yeah, of course. I mean, the fact that most of his career was in WCW and WWE, notwithstanding, he is absolutely deserving of being in any wrestling Hall of Fame, Mr. Eddie Guerrero.
There we go.
That's
There
a
we
good
go.
shout. My next pick is a man who I believe, I'm not as up on the discourse, but I believe did not make it into Meltzer's Hall of Fame, but Mr. CM Punk. You don't think he's
Would you
violent?
say
Ask
that-
Jack Perry.
Would you say that his case has been helped by his program with Drew McIntyre?
Oh, that Hell in a Cell match is the most violent and gross match in the history of the business.
And it's cinema.
It's definitely cinema. I didn't make it that far on Raw, but I'm pretty sure he was on the show when he won. That's got to count for something.
Yeah, he faced Seth Rollins in a match that the consensus on the Discord was that it started well and then turned into a Seth Rollins match.
But then afterwards, he hugged Kieran Culkin. So, vote for CM Punk.
Was it Kieran or was it Macaulay?
No, it was Kieran because they talked
Okay.
about the Golden Globe. Yeah,
Okay, I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it. I saw it on the Twitter, the X.
I didn't see that Kieran Culkin was at that show. I saw that Macaulay was.
Kieran had better seats than Macaulay.
Well, yeah, he's got a
It's
Golden
it's
Globe.
2025. Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Yeah. All respect to Macaulay Culkin, who comes to Milwaukee to do like a one-man show in Milwaukee and then hang out with the Red Letter Media guys. But
I almost went.
yeah, he was not
this
on
December.
Succession.
This past December, he was doing a tour of like they were screening Home Alone, and then Macaulay Culkin was, just like doing Q&As or something afterwards. And I almost bought tickets to it as a birthday / Christmas present for someone. But man, they were fucking expensive.
As LFO eloquently put it in the hit song Summer Girls, Macaulay Culkin was in Home Alone. And my next pick is one I feel like I'm just going to be disappointed when I see the results. But I feel like when like we've nominated Low Key and Punk, and eventually down the line, we're going to talk about other wrestlers of that like peak indie era, and specifically guys who wrestled in like IWA Mid-South. And I feel like that with that we have to nominate the wrestler that all of these guys were listening to in the locker room, the respected veteran, the Riot starter, Tracy Smothers.
Hell
There we go.
yeah.
JC,
There was a
Juggalo
lot of
Championship
build up.
Wrestling Hall of Fame.
There was a lot of build up where I was a little afraid you were going to try to nominate Ian Rotten. You hadn't paid
No,
attention.
we can't do that again. I'll have to save it for next time.
Yeah, we got to do Axel Run this time, and then switch back to Ian for the next one.
Yeah, good strategy.
Speaking of my nomination of Ian Rotten, and I don't remember if I was Necro Butcher, but this is not the Hall of Very Good People. It's the Violent People Hall of Fame.
Did
So
we get
I'm
both?
going to nominate.
Hey,
Wait, hold on. Did we do two, Chris?
Oh,
we did not
oops.
do.
We're
I tried to
doing.
snipe
We're
ya.
doing this.
What
We're
a
doing
piece of shit.
We're doing the snake
God.
style thing, but it's good that you're excited, Dan.
I thought it was just whoever said it.
No.
We're gonna do snake style. Okay.
My second pick.
Now I'm in his head.
We should have let Dan say who it was, and then you could take it.
Zach Gowen.
I mean,
What?
he had some violent fucking matches.
I think I am going to go with Tarzan Goto.
Ooh.
That's a good call.
Since we got his partner Onita, partner, sometimes rival, another one of the great leaders of FMW, a man with aura and a violent person.
I want to say it was at the 1995 Kawasaki Stadium show, whichever one was, I think, the 5th anniversary show for FMW, where it was Tarzan Goto in a match with Mr. Pogo. And Mr. Pogo takes a huge swig of lighter fluid because he's going to do a fireball. And Tarzan Goto counters it by just full on punching Pogo in the mouth.
Beautiful
I think
stuff.
that's the kind of wrestler we need, not just in the Violent People Hall of Fame, but in wrestling, period.
Tarzan Goto is one of the guys that I stupidly believed his rep. Like, I feel like when I first started watching wrestling from there, like he was like made fun of and mocked, but he rules. That's not who I was going to say though. I was going to say Brock Lesnar.
The perennial rival of Zach Gowen.
Yeah, that's what made me think of him.
Oh my goodness. All right, Pat, bring the heat.
All right. We were just talking about the low-key CM Punk, Tracy Smothers era of the Indies. And this is another guy, I'm shocked no one nominated him in the first go-round, but the notorious 187 Homicide. I am not sure that, without Homicide and like Necro Butcher and Samoa Joe, who also was nominated, but they are a sort of guy on the indie who kind of upped the level of violence in matches that were not just like Devin Moore style guys on pills getting brain damage. I think Homicide's contribution to how violent professional wrestling got in America during the 2000s is something that could be pumped up more.
1,000%. 1,000%. I will come in here And I will nominate Daisuke Ikeda. We have already our dear close personal friend in Ishikawa. And now we got to at least nominate his contemporary. So there we go. One of the hardest strikers to ever lace up a pair of little boots. All right. And then next up, we are not beating the sexism allegations. But I will. Aja Kong. Let's bring her on the board. Come on, folks.
If Aja doesn't get voted in, we just have to say we're all sexist and there's no women, right? At this point,
I think
Especially given the Discord's taste.
well, it's all they talk about.
the Discord's taste leads me to believe they will vote for Aja Kong and no one else. Maybe Santo. Maybe Eddie Guerrero.
They're not voting
But
for.
Aja Kong will
they're
be
not voting
like
for
the
Santo.
one.
We're testing some things out with Santo.
Yeah. But yeah, Aja Kong is like the one certified, 99% person.
I gotta tell you, you shouldn't say these sorts of things.
Yeah, people they do that. They vote.
Called jinxing it, as it were. Everyone just heard, I don't need a vote for Aja Kong. I can say my vote for someone else because she doesn't need it. And then she gets 2 votes.
Just as planned.
There we go.
Yeah, our plan is to actually make everyone look like idiots. Is all part of the plan.
Speaking of looking like idiots, I'm going to vote for someone who, in 2025, someone is going to look like an idiot reusing this man's gimmick. I am going for Mr. Eiji Izaki, aka Hayabusa. Former FMW tag team champion with Mr. Daisuke Ikeda. And then I think they got stripped of the belts because Ikeda got injured.
I was a little worried because Pat did say out loud, "Who's next on my board?" was Samoa Joe. I mean, I'm nominating low key CM Punk, Samoa Joe. I mean, you know where my tastes lie.
I had him as my probable number 5, just in one of those if none of these guys are gonna fucking say Samoa Joe, I'm gonna get Samoa Joe on there. So I'm glad someone else did.
Oh shit! I should have said Charlotte Flair.
Should have said sexy star.
Hmm.
I was saving her for
Which-
you, Chris.
Yeah, that is not my vote, but I am keeping it in Mexico. I'm going to go El Dandy.
All right. There we go.
WCW Worldwide.
That's right. And for my final pick, damn, we've got some good ones already, and many of mine were taken.
Well, let's fill some dead air here.
Yeah.
How's everyone's NFL team doing right now?
Great.
Good.
The Patriots they're finding themselves.
Going to the Lions game next week.
Well, you're not allowed to pay attention. You have things to do right now, Chris.
I'm sorry.
You're busy. Dan, who are you a fan of? What's your team?
The Cleveland Browns, sadly. And
Okay, that's not great.
I
That's
don't
not
really
great.
have a team. My backup team is the Eagles. That's who I rooted for when there were no Browns. So they're doing well.
Just because I don't have anything else at the top of my head, I'm going to go one for the real ball knowers. Since we've named a few FMW wrestlers already, my final pick will be for the always underrated Mr. Ganisuke.
Thanks.
Just
I'm
to
a little
give him
hurt,
a shout.
Sam. You could have said, "How's everyone's NBA team doing?"
Nope. Didn't want to have that. That's
It
would've
also
been-
good for me.
Also
Would've been
pretty
very
good.
You guys would make the play-in right now if it was the playoffs.
Yeah, they're the 7 seed right now.
That's wild.
That's like you get a full 2 games of the Pistons. Look at that.
Wait,
One way or another.
they're the 9th seed right now.
I think with tiebreakers, it would actually be the.
Oh, that could be true. Yeah, because all these teams. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
And they're about to win. So. They're up
Who they playing?
22. The Nets.
All right. Not the worst team in the world. Not great. All right. Anyway. Dan, what you doing?
I like to stay on brand. I'm going to nominate George Hockenschmidt.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Why not?
People called
History
him
shows
the,
me
John Cena of his era.
going to draw people.
So I made kind of a long list of potential people, and now I'm torn between my choices. But this one I feel is kind of a long shot for the voting body of people who will end up voting for this. But it's someone who I feel fits like a glove within the scope and the context of the Violent People Hall of Fame. I'm going for the Sandman.
Sure. Why not? Why not?
I mean, if you watch it, like literally all the guy does is unrestrained, barely controlled violence.
Did Homicide ever wrestle for ECW? Do those timelines ever interact?
I don't think so.
He might have done something like a tag with Chris Chetty or something.
I just
Yeah,
want to see if Pat picked all folks that had wrestled for ECW.
I mean, Hayabusa only wrestled for ECW once. So,
it counts. It counts.
well, you pick your last guy. I'm gonna check on.
It doesn't look like he ever. It doesn't look like Homicide ever did.
All right. Thank you, Cage Match. All right. Here we go. Final pick. The one and only. A national hero. It's Carlos Colon.
the man who's a pioneer in having a whale vagina forehead.
Very true.
One of the all-time great whale vagina foreheads. Truly.
I almost nominated Viano Tercera just because when he unmasked, not only did he have the horrible blade scars all over his forehead, he had them all over his chin too. The man legitimately gave himself a fucking Thanos chin.
You know what? I don't love that. That makes me
It was horrible to look at.
Big yikes. All right. Well, on the plus side, I have discovered every single wrestler that was missing for the VP 2010 10s. So that is positive.
How many were off the books?
The answer is 3. There was 3 people that were missing. Oh, this is a funny one.
Does it
Actually,
affect
never.
honorable mentions that have already been posted?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
Oh, good.
Pretty much anyone would affect honorable mentions because it bumps everything back.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
And 2 of these wrestlers are going to be top 100 wrestlers. So everyone who did a blurb for a late placement one, I'll be putting those in. There will be we're actually going to start at 110 this time around. That's where we're going to start like the fun countdown stuff.
Can you start at 102? I think that's way funnier.
Well, we'll see how many extra people I messed up on. I think if I look, it's not 3. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7.
I'm excited because I want to knock 99 off the top 100, so that's good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely gonna happen. Definitely gonna happen because I know
shit.
for certain 2 of them are there. So there you go. Anywho, sorry folks.
So tough luck,
Um,
David Starr.
That I'm gonna be honest with you. Worst news of my day was discovering this. Also, thank you, Pat, for a dumb fucking joke about people talking about thigh slapping in our Discord. This otherwise absolutely would not have been discovered until I was
Yeah,
like at
because
50.
I want to.
And this isn't spoiling anything. Chris Hero is a couple of people's number one, I think, or at least one person's number one. So you got to think they'd be upset.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can I want to know a funny one? Want to know a funny person that put at one?
Damn! I just pulled it up. You son of a bitch.
Yeah. So that's embarrassing. This is egg
That's
on my
very
face for
funny.
certain.
I was thinking of Tim. I didn't realize it was also you.
So that's embarrassing. But anywho, that's fine. Everything's fine now. I fixed it. And it has led to, I would say, a couple of funny rankings now, which is all I care about. Anywho, it's time for. Oh shit!
Wait.
There we go. Thank you.
I got you.
Q&AR. We're here, folks. It's time. It's question time, and we have a lot. How many are good? Not that many. Apologies. I put you all under the gun at about 5:08 Eastern, 3 hours before we started recording. And that's tough. So appreciate your time and patience. I know I zoomed past this, and I know I've already moved ahead into sections. Should we, before we fully move on to questions, all of us go to our 5 folks that we selected, just rapid fire, so everyone can hear it one last time before we fully move on to questions?
Makes sense to me.
All right, Chris. It's your 5.
My 5 are Mick Foley, Tracy Smothers, Tarzan Goto, El Dandy, and Mr. Ganasuke. And
Dan?
Loki, CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe, George Hockenschmidt.
Pat?
Sabu, Eddie Guerrero, Homicide, Hayabusa, The Sandman.
And then I picked Vader, Hio Del Santo, Daisuke Ikeda, Aja Kong, and Carlos Colon. All right, and you're going to vote for 10 of those people when we put up the form, which will be a day in the future. All right, now we can get into the questions. Apologies for that, folks. All right. We have from Logan, generic, but what's the most exciting prospect in 2025?
Like in wrestling?
I would assume not what, but who is the most exciting prospect in 2025. Otherwise, it's a very more abstract question than I think any of us are capable of currently. So is there any young up-and-comer that you're like, yeah, I'm in?
I'm in
Strap 'em
Shawa.
up. What promotion do they wrestle for?
Lucha Memes, and though apparently he also wrestles in something called CMLL from time to time, and people seem excited about that stuff too.
He's currently in an ongoing feud with little known and little loved luchador Guerrero Maya Jr.
I don't even know who that is.
He's some fucking guy.
Guys, why are we gonna pick on Guerrero Maya Jr., one of the all-time great wrestlers that I'll be putting on my GWE ballot?
What's this
feels
Lucha
messed up.
Mayonnaise? What's this Lucha Mayonnaise thing you're talking about?
Lucha memes.
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 Never heard of
Yeah,
it.
got so many fucking
these
memes.
luchadors wrestle your favorite memes. So I think Sadaka is actually wrestling Hawk Tua, is making her, now that she's canceled in America for doing fraud, she's going to Mexico to work Sadaka in
That
Coliseo
rules.
Coacalco.
Yeah,
So
Hawk
hard.
Tua and Drake Bell.
I met Drake Bell. Came to my office one time
Oh shit.
before
Was this
the
pre or
things came out.
post-cancellation? Okay.
He was
Yeah.
was he laying low or
Obviously, because he was in Binghamton, New York, a place that you shouldn't be unless you are laying low.
Was he like cruising for like SUNY students?
Probably. That seems like it makes sense. No, it was the weirdest thing that's ever happened because he was there for like an hour and he was just kind of bouncing around from like break room to break room. And I'm like, what are you doing here? What is going on? This is an insane thing for any person to do. So there's that. Anywho, any other prospects? People that we give a shit about?
if you want to check it out, we did a 25 under 25 that Sam's super proud of. So I would say all 25 of those people.
All 25. I can personally vouch for every single one of them. I was a big fan. I'm glad we got it right, is what I would say. We got it right. Anyway. Yeah, I would say right now is some of the most dire times for me as far as my interest in young wrestlers. Like, there's just no one I'm like, oh yeah, fucking, I'm ready. I'm excited for what the next 20 years to bring. Mostly because they just go to... What's that?
This person isn't a young wrestler, but I am excited for the possibility now that Ludark Shaitan has finally gotten the Big Japan call up.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see what happens when she, like, I assume she's going to be back in April for when they do the next Gaijin tour. I want to see what kind of shit they get her up to. I think she will really fit in with the deathmatch crew. And
Absolutely.
bring a dimension to the matches where, frankly, she's just so much smaller than even the junior heavyweights that are in Big Japan's Death division. That she will be able to bring something different to the matches just by dint of the size difference.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. I'm ready to move on to our next important question here. It is from... Nope, Ollie's question I'm not going to ask because I don't know how to answer that. I don't know what a Latino vortex is, so unfortunately I cannot ask that question. All right, Orchid, if you could book any celebrity in a dog collar match, who would it be and who would they be facing?
Macaulay versus Kieran with CM Punk as the guest ref. Done.
Mad Dog Connolly versus Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Oof.
I'm doing the Stone Pitbull Tomohiro Ishii mostly because I want to see what it looks like when he wears a collar versus Michael Vick.
This is going to be a little retro, as it were. But we are going to put Neil Diamond Cutter as our very is he retired now? Is he retired?
I think he said at the end of 2025. So
Yeah, you got one more year.
Let's put him in the peak of his powers. Let's put him in the peak.
He's an indie deathmatch guy, so he's says he's going to retire, and by February 2026 he'll be wrestling again.
Perfect. So let's put him against Connor O'Malley in a dog collar match. Yeah. And we're playing some real heat right now. So there you go, folks.
For that.
Actually, we already said it earlier. Sadaka versus Hawk Tua.
Oh yeah. You would have laid it out.
Yeah, make
perfectly.
that
that-
into
oh.
a bull terrier match.
That would be, we would be witnessing a fatality.
I would pay a
Yeah.
gross number to watch that match.
Sorry.
If I had
Samantha.
money left after that Haktua coin, I'd pay so much.
All right, here we go. Moving on. Scrolling. It is time. Just to also note that Orchid did pick. Oh, sorry, no. Ali responded to Orchid's thing with John Cena, Mad Dog Connolly. Incorrect. John Cena, not a celebrity, not a star, not a big name. Doesn't deserve that heat. Simon, what's the right number of slices of meat on a sandwich? Loaf of bread, not a sub. I do
Assuming
think
it's
loaf
slices
of
of
bread
bread.
is a weird way to define the bread situation. To me,
I use slices personally.
yes, I don't use the whole loaf, but that's me. That's me.
I mean, I
so
do
I'm
think it's
assuming-
funny to like, cut an entire loaf of bread in half and then put like one slice of turkey.
That'd be very funny. So let's assume slices. Slices of bread. How many pieces are we working with?
I mean, it depends on the meat.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
a crazy
a slice
question.
of a slice of salami is smaller than a slice of ham.
Sure. I wouldn't call salami like
4.
a traditional cold cut though. You
2
know?
to 4.
Is that me?
Definitely cold cut. Yeah. I mean, what if I'm making an Italian sandwich?
Are you making an Italian sandwich on slices of bread versus a sub?
Well, you really got me there, Sam.
You could. I wouldn't, but that's just me.
Hmm.
So when I think slice of bread, I do think like a ham or turkey situation, typically.
And a lot of times I like mine real thin, so I'm just grabbing chunks of it. I'm not laying down nice slices.
Mm,
I'll take even some shaved turkey and throw it on a sandwich.
fair.
I think the
I'm gonna
correct
say
answer
4.
is whatever brings balance to the sandwich as a whole.
There we go. I say
Also
4 because
depends
I layer them. I do little folds, and that's how it keeps it even. Chris, did you have a number here that you want to shout out, or a spiritual guidance that you'd like to bring to us?
I said 2 to 4.
2 to 4. 2 to 4. 2 to 4.
Depending
Steph.
on what you've got going on.
All right. So sorry. Sorry. I had a great bit where I was going to say Steph was my favorite prospect of 2025. Big year ahead for our man. Steph, favorite Tokyo Dome main event?
Now I gotta look up what the Tokyo Dome. I should have done this before.
We all should have. I'm like, what was on this show?
What is
So-
the Tokyo
so
Dome?
Is this just January for Tokyo Dome shows, or is because New Japan used to run the Dome all the time?
I feel like you
I
can go with
mean-
anything, but spiritually, I think he means January 4th.
Oh, so it's not Masahiro Chono versus Keiji Muto in a 1-minute match to end the Muto Grand Final Pro Wrestling Last Love?
I can't keep talking about this, Chris. I talked about this for 4 hours last year.
Oh, strap
Why
in.
are
We're
you-
gonna talk about it again.
We don't have to. He retired. He's fucking dead. We don't gotta do this. We don't gotta do this at all. Anyway, anyone else? Hmm?
I'm doing a quick scroll through.
Take your time.
At least
Take your time.
for Wrestle Kingdoms. Because I'm too lazy to look up others. Ooh.
This is such great radio. It's crazy.
It's a tough question.
I
Give
do
me-
really love Okada versus Naito in 2018. I think that match has held up now better than when it happened. Because you're past the disappointment that Naito didn't win. And so you can just watch that back and enjoy the match for what it is now. Which is a fucking phenomenal match. One of Okada's best matches, one of Naito's best matches. So I think I'll go with that.
Can I do like Hashimoto versus Kensei Sasaki, or is it not Wrestle Kingdom yet? Does that not count?
I guess if it's January 4th, I think
That
we
was
can.
that was January 4th. I
Sure.
believe. I'll do that.
Okay. Congratulations, Dan. You've beaten the system. And I'm going to do the same because I think that Wrestle Kingdom 7 really had a double main event when you really think about it deep down. And Nakamura versus Sakuraba.
That
As the
feels
double
mean,
main event.
that I was
7.
like, what's the... I couldn't remember what it was, and I was like, what's the double main event there?
So glad we talked that one through.
No, like,
That
you
is a
compare that to the
great-
same level
that
of
is a
cheating as
5-star
me.
match.
So
I don't have an answer off the top of my head, so I'm gonna say Zack Sabre Jr. versus what's his fucking name?
Shota Umino, the second
Yeah.
best Tokyo Dome main event of the year.
the 77-minute long main event this year, because wrestling only ever gets better.
That's true.
all right, here we go. Next question from Tim. Who is your dream guest for next episode?
I think we answered this in the channel, but it's Quentin.
Oh, perfect. Yep.
That's
fair.
really good.
I was
did
gonna
send
say
out,
Harry wrestling fan.
I sent out an email to Lowell Dean, the director of Dark Match, to see if he wanted to come on. I haven't
Please
got a
do
response yet.
Please do that.
I mean,
already
I've
did.
got a whole laundry list of Harry wrestling fan, Brad Shepard, the sports Skeeta guy who got run off the internet because he threw a fit. The Frey movement.
Oh,
Been a while.
Yeah,
I
I
did
mean,
not email him.
we need to bring back the legends of discourse. The Meltzer says what guy on Twitter.
Ooh, yeah.
You didn't say Bix, which is a little disappointing, but
Bix has been
Bix
on.
has been on the show.
Yeah, that doesn't make any
that's so
sense.
real. That's so
I
real.
mean,
I'm
so
sorry.
has Quentin, but it's been too long.
It's been
Bix has
too
been on the
long.
show more than Quentin, which is
It's true. I don't got it tonight. I don't got it tonight. Sorry, folks. All right, Cole. Do you guys wipe sitting or standing?
And how many
Sure.
slices of meat do you do it with?
Oh, that reminds me.
That's more the meat answer. Is just like as much as it brings you balance. You know.
I feel like I need to point out. Did we ever talk about who won our fantasy football league? That made
I
me
have
think-
no idea.
I don't know if we ever announced.
Yeah, who won?
Tay KZ.
Congrats to them.
Though I did announce him and Ducky as co-champions, and he gave it a handshake emoji with feels official.
Congrats to those two.
Yeah,
Congrats to those two. I really got. It's not the same as our league, but I did win in the Wrestling with Words fantasy football league, which conferences are called Sit and Stand. So, I'm not at a total loss this year.
yeah. You did lose of the 3 members of the podcast that are in the league, so you are covering WrestleMania for the site.
Unfortunately, someone broke the contract for this agreement thankfully, because it was a bad contract to begin with. So just happy to not have to do that. Happy to not have to do that.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I agree with this.
We'll do that off mic. We got some discussion.
If I knew I was competing with just you and Chris, I would not even entertain the idea.
I am calling my lawyers.
Listen, pre Chris Hero fuck up, maybe.
I think an acceptable substitute is you have to listen to Dave Meltzer's analysis of WrestleMania and review that.
Done and done. Oh my God. All right. Next question for
Either that or you just have to sit in the Discord server while WrestleMania is happening. And just whether or not you're watching, but you just have to be part of the conversation.
Sam almost left over Netflix Raw.
What was that?
You almost quit the Discord over Netflix or Raw on Netflix.
No, I didn't care that much. It was just impossible to find any ability to discuss anything but Raw in that chat on the 6th. I was like, well, this is the biggest thing happening, I guess. But also,
But
can we talk about
also,
literally anything else? Anyway, sit or stand. We never answered. Just quick.
Oh,
sit.
sit.
Stand.
Sit.
Stand.
Oh, shit.
All right. We've heard it. All right. Mondo coming in to piggyback off Simon's question. What is the best meat and cheese combo for your sandwich? Anyone got anything?
So just one meat, one cheese. I would go roast beef provolone.
Cool.
I would go turkey Gouda.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say a turkey melt of some kind, but I think the cheese would just depend on how I'm feeling that day.
Fair enough. I don't eat meat, and all vegetarian meats are not 1-to-1 with the real meat world. So I don't really got a good answer here. All right. Moving on. Marilyn, do you enjoy pigs in a blanket? Sure.
Yes.
Why not?
Sure, I prefer if you're doing like cocktail weenies, just like tossed in some barbecue sauce instead. But I will eat a pig in a blanket.
Why not? Why not? All right. Ducky, favorite Gargano match?
Pass.
I mean, it's boring, but it's probably the Andrade match.
Yeah,
I'm amazed you did not say something from AIW.
Listen,
Yeah, a lot to choose from.
I have a lot to choose from, and nothing's coming to mind.
it's the Andrade
right.
match.
I've decided it is the match against ACH from Beyond Wrestling and St. Louis Anarchy's joint show that happened.
I was at some Beyond show in Melrose, Massachusetts, where they fucking did Drew Galloway versus Johnny Gargano. And no one at any point questioned that they were going to do a tombstone pile driver type finish with Drew holding Johnny Gargano up for a tombstone pile driver. And just the very act of holding his body in place meant that Johnny's head cleared the mat by like 6 inches. Like his head ended before Drew's knee pads began.
That's sick.
That's how it's got to be sometimes. That is how it has to be sometimes. Anywho, Take Z. If you had to rebuild the pyramids, which wrestler would be your number 1 draft pick?
Rebuilding the pyramids?
Yeah.
This seems problematic. Like, I don't.
So they're asking who we would enslave?
Am I paying them a living wage?
I'm going to skip this question. I feel like we've all answered it.
Brock
Perfect.
Lesnar.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar.
Great question.
You know,
Great answer. Great answer. And it works both ways. It works all.
Yeah,
directions.
he's strong and he's also paying for his sins.
Yeah, has to. The Pedrag. How do you say this? Pedrag.
I believe so.
All right. How many Hogan American beers can you drink in 10 minutes?
I don't know. I haven't tried that beer, but I bet it's fucking nasty.
It's like your standard piss beer.
Yeah. I mean, well, if it's just a standard piss, I assumed it was like a craft beer type thing.
No, it's
like where it was like really strong.
no.
The taste was really strong.
It's like 4.5%. It's
Okay,
like
I mean, yeah, that if it's the same as just drinking like a fucking Budweiser, then yeah, I could probably put down a bunch of them. I just wouldn't want to.
Hell yeah. I don't drink beer. No. No answer.
I could probably go 3 or 4 in 10 minutes.
Yeah, like, is there a prize?
No.
Hogan is throwing you the beers.
Oh, that's fucking sick. I'll do 6 of them.
All right, perfect. Adrian, what's your Denny's order?
Moon's over Miami.
Great. Perfect.
Do you have Denny's near you, Sam?
Yeah.
I don't have any Denny's near me.
Oh, that's wild. That's wild.
I didn't know if like they just like didn't make it far into the Northeast or something.
I'm probably doing like
I'm sure there is a Denny's somewhere in Massachusetts. It's just never.
There
been
are 4
anywhere.
Denny's in Massachusetts. Attleboro, Fall River, Holyoke, Leominster.
Okay, so yeah, all of them out of my way. Like I would, going to Fall River, Massachusetts, I'd rather fucking die. But yeah, no, I don't know what my Denny's order is because I don't think I've ever eaten at one.
It has been many years since I've been at a Denny's. Probably since high school when there was a free pancake thing that we all went to.
probably just doing an all-American slam.
The real answer is I'm leaving and going to Waffle House.
That I definitely don't have.
So Waffle
You
House.
don't have a Waffle House?
We don't have Waffle House in Massachusetts, as far as I know. But if we did, I would enjoy it greatly because the times that I've been down to the South, it has been a point that we always have to go to Waffle House.
Do you realize how few Waffle Houses there are, Dan?
Ohio is like the one northern state that has Waffle House.
Yeah, there is a Waffle House about 2 hours away from me.
There's 2,100 Waffle Houses. Let's not act like it's like a mom and pop shop.
All right, 984 of them are in the Georgia area.
Yeah, that's true.
I looked at a map and it's just like, oh, hey, if you just go to the southeast, that's where half of them are. I will say the other half are right in the middle of, a quarter of them are in the middle of Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky.
If you're looking at that map, the 2 balls at the end of Ohio, I'm the left ball. That's where I live.
I love it.
I'm the left ball of Ohio. I will say that.
In Tewksbury, Massachusetts, there's a place called Vic's Waffle House, which I don't think is connected to Waffle House. And
I would have said probably not.
Their website is giving me a 404 not found.
All right. Next up. Eamon, if you lived in the world of John Wick, what would your job be? I hate to say, I haven't watched much John Wick. What are the jobs?
Everyone is in some way connected to the assassin business.
Yeah, I would be an assassin like everyone else.
Okay, I was about to say, that's all I know is this is a world of assassins.
I would be hanging out with Boban.
If I had any role in the universe of John Wick, I would be like the pizza guy that shows up and gets shot by the bad guy immediately. And before my body can even hit the ground, John Wick has taken the pizza out of my hand and thrown it as a weapon.
Love it. Amazing. Dan, any thoughts?
I don't know. I'm like a puppy killer or something.
Anime appraiser.
Anime appraiser. There you go.
There you
Perfect. That's the job I would have picked for Dan also. So, all right. Tim says, what is more gay, being gay or taxes?
Well, I already used this answer, but I mean, you got to go with the Power Up Comics thing, where where they ask about gay marriage, and they say, "Well, to me, all marriage is gay marriage. All taxes are gay taxes."
There you go. There you go. All right. Anyone listen to the new Bad Bunny album?
I
No.
have not listened. To it
No,
yet.
I've been listening to a lot of Bob Dylan.
Yeah, so I saw your thing about the 370. What are the 370s albums that you inflict on people?
Well, I've just been like going through the discography on my own time. And so when I'm at work by
Are you in like
myself,
Christian Dylan yet?
I just reached Christian Dylan.
That was when I first got like a streaming thing during the pandemic, and I was working in an animal shelter, and I was just by myself for a lot of time because we were really on a skeleton crew covering multiple buildings. For some reason, one of the first things I listened to when I had the entire world of streaming music at my fingertips was like, I'm going to listen to the Christian Bob Dylan albums.
Slow Train Coming is a pretty good album.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the wheels fall off a bit after that.
when I tweeted that, I was subjecting my customers to the 1973 album Dylan, which is just like, it is an unauthorized release the label put out because they were mad at Bob Dylan, and it's just all songs that he recorded during like Self-Portrait, which a lot of people...
this is the one that it's like all like the bum takes, and
yeah.
it's awesome the record companies could do that.
All right. What are we doing here? What's the next thing in our journey? Our next thing in our journey is I actually don't know what Soul Posted. That question I have no idea what it's saying. Does anyone understand Soul Posting's question?
Oh, it's pretty easy. Would you rather inchworm throughout your house for an entire year without being able to use your hands? So you have to like, wiggle your way through your home, or go what's shaking bacon, really sassily and obnoxiously to everyone you greet for a year. It seems like a pretty easy answer. You gotta say what's shaking bacon. I have stairs.
What's shaking bacon?
I'll get hurt.
But then you also have to do that like at work.
Yeah, every time someone walks in the door at work, I will be saying, "What's shaking bacon?"
People know I'm an idiot. That's not gonna change how they think about me.
I think Chris is the ultimate test case where he can spend a day at work, one day at work doing what's shaking bacon, and then one day at work not using his hands.
Well, I think that one's just at your house. I think you go about your life normal, and then you go home and have to inchworm your way through the house.
I also like the premise of that you have to inchworm around not using your hands. And it's like, I don't use my hands when I walk.
That's
fucking
true.
Well, you're not walking, you're inchworming.
You're inchworming, yeah. So like you're having to like wiggle. I think the better question is, would you do that for like a week, or the what's shaking bacon for a year?
I'm still going what's shaking bacon.
I think so too, but like the year to year, both being the same timeline, like kind of implies that they're somewhat equal. And one of them has me like falling down my stairs every morning, and one of me is saying, "What's shaking bacon?"
Yeah, I unfortunately don't meet enough people where I think what's shaking bacon is going to make a great impact on my life. So I can keep up with that. All right, those are the questions for Q&AR. And that's an episode. That's it. We've done the Hall of Fame ballots. You will be able to vote on those shortly. Thank you all for listening. Keep an eye out for some adjustments to the VP 2010s, and continue to watch for the
I
VP.
think I'm gonna float this before we end the episode. If they buy a mug, and if they've already bought a mug, it doesn't count. They have to buy another mug. if they buy a mug, their ballot counts for like triple.
Shit.
I'm not giving them that much power.
There we go.
Oh, I just mean
Alright.
I just mean in the Hall of Fame, not in like the VP 100. So that's sacred.
Food for thought. Food for thought.
And if you voted for Black G's Sabian, it's okay. We're fixing it.
we're gonna let everyone know you did that. I
Age of
will.
Death main event or Black G's.
If you're in line, stay in line.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll be back next week with a very special guest.